Anyway, as you can see, I am using OneDrive to accomplish this. Um, you'll have it on your desktop. This way it makes it easier to work in between, multiple computers when you're trying to get things accomplished for your website. But as you can see, I'm going to show you this with the church upkeep, so you kind of understand. As you can see here, we already got one file for it. That's the outside file folder. Now, if you'll notice on the inside, this is where we put all of our Word documentation for the site, and laying everything out so that we actually have a record of it. And like I said, it's great that you could actually have an extra file inside of here just for your images. This way you know where there are when it's time to start doing the optimization that we have to do for our images. All images has to be under 1 KB for best website optimization. And I'm going to show you how to accomplish this with Photoshop and PhotoImpact-X3. And then we'll go to TinyJPEG to finish optimizing these images as to a smallest file size as we possibly can. This is very important for your speed of your website. Okay, well, let's move on to the next step. You will need Photoshop or PhotoImpact to be able to resize the original image. Now, there are a bunch of free programs like GIMP, and there's a bunch of other ones that will work for resizing. I just find it's just too much of a headache to have to go online or download something, and then sometimes it causes complications with your PC. So, but anyway, Photoshop, unfortunately, is $59.99 a month, which is really expensive. PhotoImpact-X3 is $69.99 if you catch it on sale, and that's for life. You can upgrade every 4 years or whatever, and always keep your photos as JPEGs, and all your flat icons, your logos, and stuff like that usually will be a PNG. Let's move on. Alright, you will need 5 different file sizes for each image for your WordPress website. Background images, 1024 by 500. This usually covers the screen very well. Sometimes I have gone to like 780 by 500 just to get the file size down, but these are pretty common, and you'll see the difference in the file sizes on these larger images because it's hard to get them under 1K. Your large images for your blog posts, for the featured image on the blog post will be 1024 by 1024. Your medium images, I like to keep them kind of square so that, as you put them in, they all look good, is 768 by 768. And your medium file size needs to be 350 by 350. 300 is what some themes kind of recommend, but when you share this on social media, it just doesn't look right, so I recommend the 350 by 350. Thumbnails, 150 by 150, and this is all for your websites. So let's stop and go into Photoshop so I can show you how and what we need to do. And then after we get out of Photoshop, we will have to resize the images again in tiny JPEG or tiny PNG, depending on the file type. All right, now we're in Photoshop. Now, don't make fun of my images I have on Photoshop already. I was making my granddaughter a birthday card, and they wanted pink elephant. So, but anyway, I'm sure y'all will leave me some comments down below about my pink elephant. But anyway, that's why that's on here. Anyway, you want to go to Create to start a new file. so we can resize these images to the size that we want. Okay, and here's where you'll set the file up. You know, we're going to start with the 1024. You usually can go to web up here if you want to. And you know, it gives you some sizes, but I do not recommend using really any of these sizes, because you're not going to get them down to where you want, because we're going to, you know, we kind of need to keep our file sizes. And you go up here where it says width, you can go ahead and title your project or whatever you want it to be. I'm going to church test photo, and we're going to come down to the width, keep it at pixels. We're going to get rid of the width. We're going to put in 1024, and then this is the background image, so we are going to put in 400, or let's go 500. We're going to keep the resolution at 72. We're going to keep this as low as we possibly can. Now, to keep things a little bit cleaner, I come down to background content, and you scroll down to get to your transparency, and go ahead and put transparency in here. Then hit create. You wait on your system to load. Depending on your computer, it may take a little while. Alright, that puts us where we want to be. And let's go up to File. We're going to come all the way down to Place Embedment. Then we are going to find the file we want, which is our OneDrive. Let's bring in this image in place. Let's get rid of that. I don't know why that opened up. It must have been something I was working on. Go ahead and stretch your image for the length you want. Hit enter. Then nudge it over as you need to. Sorry, while the grid's on, let me get rid of that. That's good for like when you're drawing certain things and stuff like that. There you go. Now, you basically design your first image for your background. Then you want to go up to File, down to Export, Export As. And we're running kind of slow because we've got Photoshop and the screen capture software running on the background, so I do apologize. And if you look, this file size was originally probably around 3,000 and something. We are down to 1 megabyte. So we're really good there. And everything else here, just make sure you come up here to File Settings, Formats, and make sure you hit JPEG. Now if you watch, that kind of changed the file size. Now you see the file size is humongous. And then we want to export. On the larger images like this, it is hard for us to what's the word I want to use? It's hard for us to get them really, really small. And then you set the file you want it to go to and you save. So it makes it easy for you to get back to. Alright, let's open up another window, and we'll keep this one open so that we can, you know, work back and forth between them. Okay, let's do our next image. And this image, we're going to do 1024 by 1024, keeping the 72 and the transparency the same. And we'll call this church upkeep. Okay, and now we got a different size. We'll go back up to File, go down to Place Embed, and we're going to go to church upkeep file. We're going to bring this one in, and the rest of these will make this as our primary image. And we do want to enlarge this to where it fits the screen. Sometimes you have to hit Shift and you grab the corner to be able to get it right. Bring it up, hit Enter, use your arrow keys to center it the way you need it centered. Now we just have to deal with it because we don't want the bottom. And then we go to File, Export, Export As, or you can use the shortcut. We'll make sure it's staying on JPEG and everything's the same. And as you can see, the file size is 7 KB, so that's still kind of large, but we'll take care of that in tiny image. And we'll export that out to here, and we'll leave it called that. And I'm sorry about this advertisement. These guys constantly pop up every so often. Now we're going to open up our next file size. Go to New File, New, and you can keep these open up top because we're going to go back and use them again. Now our next file size is a 768 by 768. Width 768, height 768. These are for your medium large, resolution 72, background transparency, background content transparency. Create. Now we have our next one. Go to File, go to Place Embedment, and you want to keep your your files separately so that we have an idea. So this is the one we just created from this. So we're going to bring this one in, and we're going to make several copies of this. And this one here, we're going to have to hold down Shift, grab the corner so we can enlarge it. Grab the bottom left corner so we can bring it down. Hit Enter. Adjust it to where you want it on the screen. File, Export As, which is Alt Shift Control W on the PC, and I really don't know what it is on the Mac. As you can see, the file size is 417.7 KB, and we're going to download it as a JPEG. Keep all the settings the way it is. Export. And then we're going to call this one number 2. You name it, but I do recommend you naming it for what the image is going to be for. So, if this is the Church Upkeep Sanctuary, then we name it that, and always, put 1, 2, or 3 so you have, your different images. Or you can name it by the file size, which would be, 768 by 768. That way you kind of know what it is. All right. Then go back to File, New. And by this time, you're going to know how to import videos into Photoshop with no problem. This file size is going to be the 350. And the height's going to be 350. Resolution 72. Background content transparent. Create. Go to File, Place Embedment. We are going to take the original file. Always you work from the original file because each one of these gets smaller and smaller. And as you can see on the original file, the file size is 4032 by 3024. The file size is 3.26 MB. We're going to place. And now if you notice, it shrunk the file size down. Hit your shift, grab a corner. That looks like it might be large enough. Hit enter. And bring it down. Adjust it to where you want it. It's beautiful. Go to File, Export, Export As, or Alt-Shift, Control-W on a PC. If you notice, we brought the file size down to 90.2 KB. This is well acceptable for your website, but we will bring it on down. Further than that, keep your JPEG. Everything else is the same. Hit export. And we will call this one 350 by 350. And then we have one more to do. And then you want to open new. And now we're going to go for the 150 by 150. And I know this is aggravating and it's a lot of work. And this is why web guys charge so much to optimize images, you know. And you can understand why. We're doing the height, width at 150, the height at 150. 72 resolution, background content, transparent, create. Go to File, go down to Place Embedment. Click on the original file, hit place. And you notice how it kind of resized everything tiny. This is for mostly, you know, most of these you're going to use on this size is going to be more for, you know, little bitty images for maybe headshots or something, or product images. And after you adjust it and you have it where you want to, go to File, Export, Export As, or Alt-Shift, Control-W on your PC. And as you can see, we got the file size down to 21.5 KB. Keep your format at JPEG. Make sure the height and resolution is the same. Then hit Export All. We're going to name this one Artboard 150 by 150. And oh, now see, this time it went to a different file setting. So you always watch out for that, because this one, you know, sometimes this happens. So go back up to where you have your files, and now where we need to be, and then hit save. Alright, that's how you edit photos in Photoshop. PhotoImpact-X a little bit more aggravating, and I may just do one image in there so we can move this along, but you'll get the understanding and the idea. Before we go over to PhotoImpact-X, I did want to show you one thing. The reason you can have each one of these set up automatically before you start, but the reason why I said leave them open is, let's say you want to make different images for this size, instead of having to go through every single step I just went through. You can go in, leave the image where it's at, click on the image, hit delete, it removes the image, go to File, Embed, and then you can choose your next image for the job, resizing it to where you need it to be. adjustment, hit enter, and follow all the steps I just went through. This way you don't have to keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and create each one of these. Now they're all set up, ready to go, and you're good to go. Let's move over to Photo Impact so I can show you how to. Hey guys. Anyway, we're back in Photo Impact-X3. Now we're going to show you how to set your file sizes in here. And this one's a little bit more aggravating than Photoshop because of the way you have to set the files. But it's kind of the same. I usually like to click Full Edit on the new page site. Let's see if current work. Nope. New image. Here we go. And here we can set up the size we want. Okay. Now I like to deal with use my own default settings here. So the first one we're going to use is 1024 for the width. We want to set the height at what did I say, 500. We'll keep the resolution at 72, and this one's already giving you the file size at this right here. You know, you can change the resolution from 72, and you can move it on down to, you know, to get a different file size. This one doesn't compress the files as much as Photoshop does, but it works. We hit OK. And in here, you know, we don't have, you go to File, and we don't have a place embedment. So we do have the export, but like I said, we don't have anything we do, and this export don't work. The best way to do this is just save the image, and it automatically save it to where you want it. So the way we have to do this one is we'll have to bring up our documents, since we already got the pages set. Basically you can, I think you can copy and you can paste that image in. And now here comes the problem with this software. Okay, we are going to have to downsize it. And this is where it gets really, you know, a little bit more cumbersome for let's see here. No, this is the button I want, transform tool. It's been a while since I've used Photo Impact. This doesn't work as nice as Photoshop. So you can see the difference in the price, but this will get the job done, and it'll just take you a little bit longer. So just bear with me as I continue on downsizing this image. Okay, now we have this image set in Photo Impact-X3, and like I said, all we have to do is come up and hit save, and make sure here you are going to click it as a JPEG, and you want to name it. We'll go ahead and name this one real quick. And this is the 1024 by 500 image. But we don't want to save it in this file. Let's go and put it in downloads. So what we want to do is move to this PC. And let's see, go to desktops, OneDrive, Church Upkeep, and we're going to put it, now we got the right file opened up. Now all we had to do is hit save. And it's going to format the file for JPEG. That process is pretty much done. Now you can go to, let's see, I think it's Photos, no, Adjustments, Resize. And then you can come in here and set the image to the height for the next one, which is the 768. And we don't want to keep the same ratio, so we want to uncheck that. Because if we keep the same ratio, we won't go to 768. Keep the resolution at 72, then hit OK. it resizes the images. Adjust the image to where you want it. You are going to have to bring it up again, go back to File, come down to Save As, because you just saved the other one. And this time we want to save this one at the 768 by 768. Keep file size JPEG and make sure you're in the right file folder. Hit save. Okay, and then go back to adjust, resize, go to your width height, and we're going to do the 350 by 350. Make sure it's 72. Hit OK, and as you can see here, this is going to be the new file size. Alright, readjust the image to where you want it. We are going to have to shrink it down on this one because now it doesn't fit right. It's a little bit more cumbersome to do, but you can get her done. Try to keep the images as close as you possibly can. File, save as. $350 by 350 and hit save. Format. Now we're going to move on to the next step in this process. Okay guys, so basically look up tinyjpeg.com. Just make sure, like I said, you want to compress this as a JPEG. When you're using JPEGs, you want to compress it as a PNG if you want PNG. We're going to tinyjpeg. This is the site we want. And here we go. Now, and the great thing is, with this is free. You can also pay for the version, but the paying for the version is a whole lot faster, and it will also compress it down a lot further for a lot of your larger images. It is a long process to get done, but what I just done works the best and saves you a lot of money, and you don't have to use a plugin. Open up your documents to where your images are in, and we are going to basically select all the images we're going to use. And the best way to do this is click on one, hold shift, and start grabbing all the ones you want. Then hold them down, move them to the file. That was 4 images, and we're done. Okay. Now if you'll look, our first image, we're missing 1 image. Okay, let's get the other big one in here. Bring that one in. Okay, as you look, the 768 by 768 was 420.1 kilobytes. We brought it down to 65.3 kilobytes. So that's under 100 kilobytes. The other ones, this one was 700 kilobytes. We brought that down to 96 kilobytes. So that's our largest image. Then our largest image is the one on the bottom, but we're all under 1 gigabyte, which is where we want to be. I don't know why I put kilobytes up there. We want to be under 1 kilobyte earlier. That would be nice, but it's not. The thing is, once you have them in here, you cannot go back in and resize them again, what ends up happening is it only shrinks it just a little bit. So let's go down to download all, and then we're going to have to go back over into our file and move them around to where we have them in here. So we're going to go to download. I'll right click on download, open a new window. Okay. Now you have two choices here. You can do like I like to do, which since we got all new photos, and that is basically click on every single one of them, delete them. Now you might want to set another file up to be able to do this, and that's going to be up to you. Click on the download. Alright, now we have them in here. Bring over our large image, and I'll just move them all back over here so we don't have to fool with click one, click all, drag all those over here. Now we have all our file sizes for our new website, so all these other windows we can close out. Okay, and then we'll be back in a moment, and I'll show you, we'll put these on the site, do a test, and you'll see how well you know, it performs and so forth. Okay, we're in our WordPress dashboard, and we want to install these images on our home page. And as you can see, this is the site that I was testing earlier on another video. Not a whole lot set up in here. We have one theme and a couple plugins. But what we want to do is we want to kind of show you, you know, the speed of this site just with these images alone. And then we're going to do another test later on, you know, showing you how fast WordPress is out of the box with two different hosting companies that I host with. But you want to, you know, since this site doesn't have a page on it whatsoever, we're going to start out there. And this is in New Gettysburg, so forgive me for slow internet speed. My Wi-Fi and all that is just kind of goofy. We're going to call this home page, but you can call it whatever you want to. We are going to wait on it to do its thing. And this is where you add your text. We are going to upload images. We're going back to Church Upkeep. We're going to go ahead and load all these images. Let's see. That's going to be one of the biggest ones. Okay, and now we are going to set the featured image. Let's see. Okay, the feature image is set for that page. We're going to hit publish. We are going to go into appearance, customize. After the page is loaded, you want to scroll down in your customizations to general operations, and then you want to you want to go to home page setting and set the page we just made so it'll show up on your home page. We want to collect it as a static page, and then we want to select home for the page we just made over in in WordPress dashboard. And we want to go back, and as you can see, we're still just site's still just empty. There's nothing on there. This is the only page we have on there. We're going to test these images to see how fast the site is with just these images on there. Alright, site identity, general operations, entitled, general styling. I'm looking to try to get rid of the sidebar there, because you can actually set this up as any page you want. We're going to do a full-length page on this one. So it's general operations, general settings. Now we have a full page, so we don't have that sidebar. Hit publish so that your changes are saved here. I'm going to do one other thing. I'm just going to leave it like it is right now. So now we have just the home page alone. I know this is not an SSL copy or address. Go to Gtmetrix and let's run a test and see how fast this site is, and see if we got any image optimizations that needs to be done. Okay guys, we're back. Can't believe that Gtmetrix was bottlenecked there. But anyway, as you can see, our page score is still 91, and our Y slow score is 71. But we're not looking at the score on this. What we're looking at on this test is to see if we get any image problems. And as you can see, usually one of the first things that pop up are they're always talking about resizing your images. And we're still dealing with the basic stuff, leverage, browser cache, remove query strings, and then very special specify a accepted encoded header. These are just some of the things, and on optimized images right here we have 100. Now they still give us some recommendations sometimes, but this is what you want to see. Now of course, the more images you have on your site, the slower your site will be. The more stuff you have on your site, the slower the site will be. But I just wanted to show you that you can actually, there you go guys, I showed you how you can downsize your images, optimize your images without having to use a plugin to resize your images to keep them under 1 gigabyte. I do want to also tell you that, just to keep your mind fresh on this, make you a note and hang it on there, the size of the images you're going to need, and just to get them under the 1 gigabyte, so that your website will be as fast as possible. Anyway, guys, I do thank you for watching. Please take time out to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you can follow our stuff. Google wants us, YouTube wants us to give a shout out to another channel. So I'm shouting out to Income School. Ricky and Jim's got a cool thing going on over there, and you can learn a lot about content writing and how to create a niche site. And I want to give a shout out to one of my channels, Church Upkeep. Yeah, you can see how many videos I have on there. Anyway, I'm growing and working hard to build my YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate you all coming out here. Don't